Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Peter. Let's just jump right in. 2 quick breaths and I punch a dive to the bottom as quick as I can. And I plane out here at about 40 feet. And there he is. Yeah, got him. And this guy is taking off. Oh man, he's fighting that float hard. And there it goes. Put the fighting float on and start pulling. And this guy pulls that float down so many times. So I get a second float and he pulls that down as well. Eventually we got him up to the shooting line. So I get my other gun and try and put a stop to this fight. Bingo. I think that should do it. Always be clear of your lines when you're pulling these big fish in and quickly put them out. Cut the gills and bleed them out. High five everybody, get out of the water and smile with your prize. Okay, changing plans. I was going to head down to San Diego and have this beast processed because it's a lot to manage. I mean, I can't even move it by myself. But they're too busy. They're taking reservations only. It's over a 2.5 hour drive anyway down south. So I guess I'm doing the surgery myself. And so I'm not looking forward to this. It's just part of shooting big fish. Got to manage it. See ya. I have now finished quartering that tuna and I need to deal with the tail. So you can see it here. It's hanging on my tree. I've got this strung up with this paracord to some little toilet paper rolls and some just paper towels to cushion it because I don't want any marks in the tail. And I put borax on the cut end to kind of keep the bugs away, but that's not going to be good enough long term. I mean, there's still flies all over the place. So what I did do to prevent that is, this is fly screen, and I folded it and stapled the sides, so I made a big pocket. So I'm going to put this over the tail to let air flow, let this thing start drying, and I'm only going to really leave it up until this thing is stiff, kind of rigor mortised out. It's kind of flexible still, and once that's done, I'm going to take it off this contraption and put it in a cup of salt. And what that'll do, see there's flies around here, is it'll continue the drying process and keep the bugs out. And it'll stand upright, pretty much in its final state. So, stay tuned. Let's see how this goes. Okay, I got my little pocket fly screen in there. I stapled the top end, clipped it. I also put some straws at the bottom, so it keeps this thing puffed out at the bottom and doesn't crush in on those little finlets, which are cool. I'm gonna try and keep this thing pristine, but that's how it's gonna stay for the next few days. So it's been about 5 days since I cut that tail off my tuna and hung it up in this fly screen, and this worked out great. It let that tail dry, and this isn't even messy, so I'm gonna reuse this. And check it out. It has dried pretty well. It's holding its shape, right? So it's not flopping around anymore. And it's on its way to drying pretty well. You can see all that down there. And so now I want to get it out of the sun, and I'm going to now put this in some salt, like I have here, and just basically get that guy in there. I'm going to actually fill up maybe another inch or so from the side. I'll do this next, but I just wanted to show you guys the basic process. So now we've gone from the outside hanging, it's going to go in this cabinet, and I'm just going to keep checking on it from time to time. So stay with me. Hey guys, we're gonna check on the progress of my tuna tail. So I took a look at it and it's looking pretty good. Still feels a little soft, so we still need to keep drying some more. And I noticed that this little fin is bent over and this one looks a little nicer, so might be displaying that side. The other thing I noticed is that the salt, it looks like it got really wet, a little crusty, it's separated here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just switch out the salt and put some fresh salt in there and continue the drying process. So stay tuned and let's see how this goes. Hey guys, it's been a while. I've been checking on the tuna tail from time to time and it's looking pretty good. I think maybe we are ready to get this thing out of the salt. And if I take a look at it, get it out of the salt here, it's feeling pretty stiff. I mean, this is stiff enough. You see it's kind of shrunken in a little bit, but still keeping a nice form. Yep. And again, it's hard enough where I think we can go ahead and do the next part, which is the hardest part, I think, is basically cutting this clean. So we have a nice surface made up to the base of the trophy plate. So yeah, I'll probably mark this with a clean line and then figure out how I'm going to cut it. If it's smaller, I probably would use a table saw, or you can actually use a hand saw to cut it. But again, I'm not sure because this sucker is so big. But it's going to be worth the effort, so stay with me, all right? Okay, let me show you what I figured out here. Check it out. So I've got the tail propped up so it's almost perpendicular, and I've got this little triangle, and I'm going to try and mark a line with the Sharpie since this thing is black. See if I can mark a line, and that's what I'll use to cut from. So wish me luck. All right, so I think it turned out pretty good. Take a look. So that's the line, goes all the way around, and it feels fairly perpendicular to the orientation of how I want the tail to be. So we'll give it a shot. I think I got it figured out. I'm going to tape it, double stick tape all this stuff together. I put a little PVC piece underneath the tail to get it at the right angle, and we're going to go really slow. The blade's only going to cut half of the tail, and then I'm going to flip it and try and cut the other half. It'll be close enough. So that's, I think, the plan at this point. Let's take a look. All right. We got through more than half of it, I think. I'll just use the saw to cut the rest. Ta-da! Check it out. All right, guys, now we're going to go ahead and just rinse this tail off. Get all the extra salt and grime and stuff. Just get you some water. And you're going to find scales, dried scales and things, probably as you're going along. So it's a good time as you find it to just go ahead and try and get rid of them. So as I'm drying it, I'm also drying along the kind of the direction of these striations. We'll probably clean it off again one more time before we actually go to clear coating. All right, I'm going to set this aside and let this dry, and we'll do the next thing. All right, guys. Now that we've got this tail relatively clean, cut, and dry, we're going to go ahead and we want to drill through the spinal bone so that I can temporarily mount it so that we can have this in a position that it'll allow this to dry when we clear coat it instead of laying it down, since there's really no flat surfaces, and we want to keep everything as pristine as we can. So let's go ahead and drill this. The trick is going to be trying to be careful and perpendicular, because that is how it's going to mount to the base. So I'm checking on all sides before I start drilling, and here we go. Oh, that was it. That's all it took. Let's see. I don't know if you can see inside there, but it's deep. Here's another bit, drill bit. It goes down quite far. So I'm going to need a long screw. So stay tuned. Let me go grab that at the store, and then we will put this together so that temporarily we'll have a stand for it. All right, guys. Well, after I drilled the center of the spine out on this tuna, some of the liquid came out. I think it's from the marrow or whatever in the spine. So I actually flicked it out as much as I could, and I'm going to just hang it here in my garage to let it dry out the rest of the way. I think it'll be fine. I'll come back and check it out tomorrow, and then we'll continue with the trophy process. All right? We're going to feel big. Since the store for a longer stainless steel screw is a 12x3, so this is 3 inches, I need to drill a little bit bigger hole in this tail. So we got to drill this guy out some more, so let's do that. Yep, went in pretty easy, and I think that's it. Yep, making contact. We got a temporary stand, people, and it looks pretty perpendicular and square, so we'll get a nice base and for the final. So I get a lot of questions as to what do I use to clear coat, and what I've used in the past is this berry thing. It's for wood finishes. It's non-yellowing, fast drying, and works pretty good. But I couldn't find this time, so instead I found this Krylon UV resistant acrylic coating. We're going to try this one. Protects against harmful UV light rays, non-yellowing permanent coating, moisture resistant coating, dries in minutes. So I looked at it and it says it's for photography work, painted surfaces, wood, metal, paper mache, glass, plaster, ceramic, dried silk flowers, paper, wicker, etc. I think it'll be fine. We ultimately just want to have a nice clean barrier between the tail and the air, and obviously the sun. So this should do it. So what I like to do first is I'm going to pool up some of the clear coat in here. Do that. Don't breathe it. All right. Then I'm going to take this and dab it in the ends of the cut fish. All right, let's see if I can hold all this. So I'm holding this and this, but you can see all these holes and voids created after the fish dried. And I want to go ahead and seal those up as best I can. So I got a little Q-tip, and I'm just going to stick them in there as best I can. And all this is doing is we just want to seal up as much of this fish as we can, because really, you know, kind of the fishy smells and stuff are going to be coming from any exposed holes and things. The skin will be fine once we spray it, but it's all these little holes. So I'm going to do this first on the bottom side, and then I'll spray this bottom side, which will hopefully cover up some of the smaller holes. But these big ones, let's just shove a bunch of this in there. I mean, no one sees this anyway. Obviously, do this outside, well ventilated area. I'm wearing gloves. I should be wearing a mask, but I can't talk through a mask, so do what I say, don't do what I do. You see, I'm trying to fill these up. Get that clear coat in there. And then I'm going to rest this on its side, outside here, let this dry out real good before I spray the bottom. All right. So you can see that's pretty good. I'm covering a lot of the holes. So again, I'm just going to lay this down and let it dry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and spray the end of our tail. We've sealed up those little holes, and let's now spray just this end. I'm doing it at an angle so I don't spray the sides. I just want to get the end as best I can. And inside there too. Okay. That's it. I'm going to just do multiple coats and move on. So I'm just going to lay this out to dry and come back to it. But this will be our third coat, I believe. There's a nice breeze. I don't know if you can hear it in my mic, but perfect day to do a little bit of this outside clear coating. All right. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll mount it to the temporary stand. Okay. So I've cleaned the tail off pretty good, and now we're going to go ahead and put our first coat of clear coat on this bad boy. We're going to do light coats, probably maybe 3. To start spraying off the tail, onto the tail, and turning it on and off, passing the tail. So you don't want to be spraying right on the tail when you push the nozzle down, and conversely when you take the nozzle off. Nice even strokes. All right, that's going to be our first layer. Do some more coats after this dries. Now that this has got a couple of coats, I think I've decided I want this in more of a semi-gloss. So I'm going to use what I have left in here and hope that it still turns out right. We'll see. Let's try. It actually looks a little better, right? Now that it's got a little darker. Now that it looks more wet. Okay, let's let this dry and see how that turns out. Okay, this is going to be our base for our tail trophy. So we're going to want to drill directly in the middle of this. So really quickly put some tape in the middle, and then we measure 2 dimensions, kind of perpendicular to each other for the center point, and hopefully that'll be close enough. Boom, that's our center. So we'll go ahead and drill that, and then we're going to countersink the back and for the head of the screw so it all sits nice and flush. Now we're going to countersink this bad boy. Alright guys, so now we want to go ahead and take the bases that we've picked and drilled, and let's go ahead and sand these. A little piece of wood, flat wood with some sandpaper. This is 220, and that's basically what we do. Just clean this up real nice. These discs aren't too bad, so it shouldn't take too long. Alright, so you can see I broke the edges there, and so this will make a nice base. Now I like to put some little pads on here, whether they're cork, like these little guys, or you can put felt or whatever, just to keep it off the furniture a little nicer, because this is going to go inside the house. So it'll sit slightly off the surface. And yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay? Okay guys, well, we've now gone through the entire process and we are at the end. Now we've got our base, we've got our tail that's been dried, it's been clear coated all throughout. We finished our base, we sanded, we put our stainless steel screw in there, put little feet on here so it sits up nice. I also put the relevant information that goes with this fish, the date I got it, how much it weighed, who I was with, and any other information that I want to have. It's just kind of nice to have with this fish. The last step that I'm going to take you through is we're going to take our fish from the temporary base and put it onto its final resting place. So it's going to go in here. Look at that. Look at that. Let me. That is pretty flesh, people. You've now gone through the whole fish trophy making process with me, at least the way I make it. There are probably other ways to do it, but this is what I found works for me. By the way, you might have noticed there's a little bit of a lisp that I have. I'm wearing an aesthetic retainer because I actually knocked out some teeth on a spearfishing accident. Maybe I'll make that video sometime soon. But I need it so I can actually say certain words with F and TH. Also for my own ego. I kind of don't think I can do this stuff without all my teeth. Anyway, I hope this explains how I make tail trophies from my catches throughout the season. Hopefully you'll be able to do this with your prize fish. I usually do this at the end of the season with any notable fish that I have that I've been drawing, and then just do all this at once. I was actually doing 2 other trophies, a 50-pound Gulf grouper as well as a 40-pound white sea bass. And those are actually done quite nicely too. I'm also doing a tournament-winning 29.9-pound yellowtail. That tail will be part of the video I make of the accident that I had. But don't worry, I'm fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and it explains things to you more easily. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. And if you got something out of it, give a brother a like. I'd really appreciate that. Enjoy me exploring beautiful California and beyond. Until next time, take care.
Fish, man.
That guy was not going peacefully.
It's a nice fish.
Yeah. Might be PB. I don't know. Hey guys, I just wanted to tell you guys that if you need any spearfishing gear, consider checking out my local dive shop, Spear America. They're also online. So if you have need of some gear and you're going to make an online order, use my coupon code SpearWithX10 and that'll get you 10% off your order. So in my mind, every little bit helps. But they've got everything. It's where I get my guns, fins, lines, everything. And they're really nice people. They're super knowledgeable. I've been going there for like a decade or more. If you want that discount code, it's SpearWithX10 and get 10% off your whole order. All right? I hope that helps. I'll list it in the description. I'll see you next time.